Now let's go behind the rock screen.
You're welcome to come on in. We'll bring out the moonshine, start telling lies and calling up the women. But no talk about racing. Come on.
Hey everybody, Josh here with the Dirt Court Jester Podcast. Kind enough to be joined by Trace and Rick with the Pit Report, Pit Road Network, and the Pit Report Podcast. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on.
Go ahead. You want to talk first? You want to talk first?
Hey, Josh, it's but no, you go.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Hey, Josh, thanks for having us on, buddy. I knew this was going to be a disaster with him. He hates talking.
He doesn't hate talking.
Yeah, man.
That's why he's on the podcast with you.
Yeah, I know.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah, see, I knew that was my whole plan, to put him on the spot in the first part of this thing. But no, man. Thanks for having us, bud. Thanks for having us. Go ahead. I'm sorry I embarrassed you a little bit.
No, that's what I was going to say. It's great because we've been listening to you and for a while, and we talked about trying to figure out how to do this last year. But anyway, talking with him about it, and when this all transpired, I said, "Man, this is awesome."
Yeah. I'm glad you guys came on, and we're both, like we talked about before we started recording. We're both trying to do the same thing, really help support dirt racing, and you guys obviously beyond that, you cover everything from dirt to NASCAR to F1. So what do you feel sets each of those different disciplines of racing apart?
You want to take that one?
No, go ahead.
The dirt for us is, well, got to have a little bit of backstory. Dad used to go to the races back in the day with your dad, and he brought me. We got into go-kart. We did a little bit of go-karting and everything like that. And then present day, now we're here going to races and stuff like that. But as far as dirt racing is set apart by and you say this all the time, access.
Yes, accessibility.
Yeah, and it's to get to the people, kind of like how we talked before the thing. That's a huge for us, is that we can get to, and it's just mind-blowing that these guys, because we're big fans, we're race fans to the core before we are anything. So we love to see the drivers, to see them interact, how they interact on the racetrack and stuff like that. And with dirt, you can get all the way up to their car. You can touch the car if they let you. I mean, in the pits and everything like that. And as far as the other two, I grew up, he got me into NASCAR from a young age, sitting with him and my pop, and watching races on television. And then as far as that's more of we went to Daytona every year from, I think I started going in 2001. I think I got to see senior race one time before he passed away in the shootout or something like that. Yeah. That was our thing. So NASCAR, as far as that's a family thing. And then at Formula One, it's just kind of fun. It's fun to watch the drama.
Yeah.
But that's why we like covering it. So it's more fun. But Formula One doesn't touch dirt. NASCAR doesn't touch dirt. So dirt's our main thing. So.
Yeah, they're all definitely in different realms. I can't wrap my head around the F1. My brother is a big F1 fan. I don't know. Maybe I don't understand it enough and the strategy that goes into it. And I've always grown up, at the dirt track where you've got the 8-lap heat races, and I really enjoy that format of racing. And I personally feel like when NASCAR started doing the stages, that's kind of what they were trying to pitch, was stage racing is kind of like heat races, but it's all one race. I don't know. I've always liked the dirt racing format, the qualifying, the heat races, and the feature races.
The accessibility is the biggest thing to me, because I remember going back, and I'm talking about 71 or 72. We go to Jack Speedway there in Jacksonville on the west side there. And, after the race, you can walk down to the pits and everything else, and you can see, Wayne Shugart, Tiny Long, when he was coming to Jacksonville and everything else. He was one of my favorites back in the day. And I think he was from Iowa or something, had a catfish place up there in South Carolina, but he'd come down every once in a while, I guess when there was a bigger money show or something like that. And, you can get in there and talk with him, and Wayne Shugart was a racer, and he had a seafood restaurant in St. Augustine. You go eat seafood and see him there, and so it's just, the accessibility to the drivers and everything to a kid, cars, man, they look neat. They sound great and everything else. You just want to be a part of it. You get right down there in the middle of it and you eat it up. And that don't go away from you. That stays with you, and so when they got time to bring Knucklehead here, when he was 3, me, him, and my dad would be up there and everything else. And so we got him started early and everything else. Then, kind of gravitated in NASCAR. Dad was from North Carolina and mom was from North Carolina, and you had to be a Richard Petty fan back in the day. So, so we got kind of both. We were going, back in the day, we'd go Saturday at Jack Speedway, and then we'd listen to it on the radio back then because that's about all you could do. And if they weren't in Daytona where you was going. And so, got started early with it, and just it's a passion. Right now there's nothing we'd rather do than be Saturday night being at a dirt track.
Yeah, and you guys are both right. It just, the accessibility is what sets it apart from everything else, and I mean it leaves you with stories that you can tell, family and friends for years, because it's just interactions like we were talking. It's like your interactions you're going to get there. You're not going to get that if you go to an MLB game or an NFL game or anything like that. It definitely sets it apart. Not just dirt track racing compared to NASCAR or F1, but dirt track racing compared to sports in general. That access is what sets it completely apart from everything else.
Yeah, 100%. It's nothing like it, man. And that's one thing going to continue the tradition. And that's one thing I think it really sets into those people that go in, kind of like you. I mean, you went to was it 94 or something like that is when you started going?
That was the first Kings Royal I went to, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that obviously it's not the first race, but like you got that, I think you got that in your bio, like that stuff, that sticks with you, that's a core memory for you. And that's going to the race with my dad, core memory for me. And now we get to talk about it. Like I said before, I don't care if anybody listens to our stuff. We're talking racing. That's what we love doing. So,
yeah. I actually still have the ticket stub from that Kings Royal.
Wow.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. I'll never forget it. I mean, you guys know how much I love the Kings Royal.
Yeah.
You guys covered a lot recently, starting at Alltech and ending up at Daytona. What were the differences between the two, good and bad, for that stretch of time that you guys were at the track?
Well, for me, I didn't get hit in the head at Daytona. So I didn't. It was all good for me. Being around racing is just fantastic. It's not a bad day at the racetrack, I say. So, it completely different worlds, man. Even we were talking about, you texted me this a little earlier. It's about fans. Like there's a race fan, and then you have your different niches of fans. And so, as far as like covering Lucas and the local guys out there at Alltech, it's just way different. Those fans, they're hardcore people, man. Like, so if they don't like people, they will straight up say it to their face. Like, they don't care. Like, it's fantastic. I don't know how to really embolden that to like explaining it, but as far as the coverage though, it was pretty good at Alltech. Really, was not a bad thing about that.
No, not at all.
At 3 days of it, man. That, I tell you what, I wore out though. 3 days of walking in the pits and everything like that. Holy moly!
I could only imagine. You guys were busy during that stretch.
Yeah, and we planned, to be as busy in Daytona until events happen. But it's about the fellowship. We met photographers and people that really know how to do photography and videography and all that stuff. And, we picked up a lot of stuff from them, and we look at their stuff, and you can, if you're a willing participant, you can strike up a conversation with a lot of people, anybody at a dirt track, easier, I think. But, then when we went to Daytona and everything else, I know we were trying to get to the dirt track when Junior had a problem, but, we can find more ways to miss a race. It seems like down here, whether it's the weather or a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And, down at Daytona, it's still, we got a lot of, I've been going to Daytona since 71 or 72, and I've seen a lot of races and everything. So the passion's not there. You mentioned something earlier about, some things happening in NASCAR. And so, and it's kind of like, I feel like Charlie a little bit on Dirt Tracks and Rib Racks. He's kind of turnt.
Calm down.
He's got a passion, and it's not NASCAR. And so when it's funny though to hear him talk about it. But and I've kind of lost a little bit on that. But we go down there with our customers and everything else, and we have a big time, and it's a big time for them. We cook and everything else, and have a good time, party a little bit, get hit with concrete and everything else. But it's a good time. But a Saturday night dirt track crowd, and I'll take any day of the week.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah, I used to go to IndyCar races. I'll be honest, I have not been to a NASCAR race. I would love to get to Daytona. But I guess I spent so much time at the dirt track, like you guys are saying. Saturday night, the race is over. I always picture this. I'll go back to, a lot of my stuff takes me back to Eldora, and race is over, and we're just out there walking around on the track, drinking a beer, just shooting shit with everybody. And if you want to go into the pits and get pictures with the drivers or chat with them, you can do it. And it's just, I don't know. It's almost kind of like home. You don't feel like you have to leave if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And I messed it up the other day. I forgot what month it was, but I know it was your birthday.
Quit pointing at me. What are you pointing at?
Well, I know I'm talking to you. Anyway, it was his birthday, and we went to World Outlaws there in Volusia.
Yeah.
And we got general admission tickets and everything else. And then we looked over at the guy and said, "Well, how do you get back there in the pits?" And he goes, "Well, just go sign a waiver." So you sign a waiver, and next thing I know, they go over here and go walk through that gate. Boom, we're in the pits. 5 minutes later, he's up there getting a selfie with Kyle Larson, him and his wife. And I'm sitting there going, where else could you do that? You can't do that at NASCAR. You can't do that at Daytona. So it's just the whole show, whether it's, you want to call it entertainment, show, racing, whatever it is, it's just a great time.
I could not have said it any better. It's something that seems to come up every time I talk to anybody, regardless of who it is. It's just a blast at the track. Recently, you guys talked about you started using a second camera for capturing your pictures and your videos at the track. How has that learning curve been?
Whew. Neither of us grew up with a camera in our hands. This one definitely didn't. This one missed the curve on the iPhones and all the smartphones too. So luckily, I had a little bit of knowledge with the phone and how to take a picture, upload it to Facebook. But when it comes to this camera, and you talked to him, Joe was kind of give us some tips and everything like that on how to like get in and get around and kind of like things to look out for. But dude, I'm telling you, first time we went to the track with the camera, dude, like I took a picture and then I go to look at it and I was like, why is the screen black for? Like, I swear I took that picture. And then like the settings and everything, learning and all that, dude, photography is a whole different world. Neither of us are a photographer. And that's when we first started with one camera. And then we're like, we're going to get, we got that one down pat. And then we're like, we're going to get another one. So that way we can both have something and then shoot some short form content kind of in the pits is what our goal was for that smaller second camera. And my idea was like, this guy, he'll be able to use it, right? Dude, he filmed a whole heat race in slow-mo. Wasted a whole memory card. Like, seriously.
Well, you had to get a good, at least a good, like, 15-second video out of that, right?
Buddy, I got 5 minutes of cars going half speed. Like, Spencer Hughes. And the bad thing is he didn't know how to track them either with the auto tracking or something like that. So it's just the leader every time the leader come by. He didn't get no one else. It's just Spencer Hughes for 8 laps.
But then he hollers at me, which it was good because Spencer Hughes was leading a lot that night. It was a good race for him, by the way. You don't tear him down. Yeah. And but he hollers at me about, you get it on slow-mo. Like I know how to put it on slow-mo or whatever. I don't know how to, I didn't put it there. You did, and well, you did the whole race. Well, I'm sorry. You never turned it off of it. So I thought that's what you wanted.
Yeah. No, but it's it's fantastic, man. I love it. I wouldn't, for all the times we messed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a learning curve, and that's all it is.
It is from the first time to the second time with the big camera. We found out that you can actually put it on a car and it'll track a car. You know, it'll track a dog, it'll track a human, and everything else. And so we've learned from the first to the second that you can actually put it on a car and it'll track the car. So keep it in focus and everything else. Which obviously I have a problem with keeping anything in focus.
He's pretty bad at it. But I will say, when we went to the XR $100,000 national race at Alltech, Randy Weaver ended up winning that race. But I think I snapped the first picture in hot laps, and I looked over at Dad. And I said, "We're cooking with grease now. We learned something from last time." I said, "We got it down pat, man." And that's really what kind of hit it right there, man. We did all them videos at that XR $100,000 race, and we had just interviewed Cade Nelson, which he was there like the first time, like 2 or 3 weeks before that, at another race, the Night of Champions race. And so by the time we got to that, we had already talked to him. We got to meet him in the pits, talk to him. We were kind of like, okay, we talked to some people, kind of lowered our stress a little bit of like being nervous. And this guy just literally walks up to Randy Weaver. I'm not even paying attention. And he just has a whole conversation with him. And then Dad goes, "You get that on camera?"
Yeah, I did something that I don't normally do. I mean, I'm an introvert, and I'm not going to walk up and everything else. And once I get talking, I'll get talking. But listen, when I've had a conversation with Randy, I look over my shoulder. You know, I expect to see somebody with a camera filming this because we're talking. But no, he's over here looking for a hot dog.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, do you feel more comfortable with the camera now?
Like I said, I'm slow to start, as we can find out. We found out here, but yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna say this as honestly. I'm an introvert. I don't like getting up in front of people. I don't like doing anything and so forth. But just by a little bit of doing this and everything else, it's helping me get over that a little bit.
Hey, Josh, I will say, if you ever need a picture of half a race car, this is your guy.
I'm your man.
He misses half the race car every single time.
But I get the sponsor part, so.
Well,
we don't know what number it's on, but I get the sponsor part.
That's all right. Have you gotten far enough into capturing either pictures or video where you guys feel like you have a certain shot that you want to go for every time you go to the track?
We've had.
You better take this one.
Yeah. We've had so many game plans of like, this is what we're going to do first. This is what we're going to do second. We want to post up here. We want to post up here. And if you ask me how many times did I get that right or follow through with that, it'd be 0. It literally would be 0. But literally 2 times we shot turn 1 and 2 at Alltech, and to me that's the favorite shot for me. That the car is barreling, especially when you get them super lates down it's half mile. So they are cruising. They get to turn 1 and they're max speed right before they rip it, and then they rip it, and sometimes they're next to the fence and sometimes they're down low. But dude, that is my favorite like video of them getting into turn 1 and then motoring through it. Like sometimes you'll hear them get out, and then sometimes you'll just hear them motor through it. And so if I had a favorite, that'd be mine.
Yeah. Well, one thing comes with that, you pay a price. We didn't know it right off the bat, but when they motor in there and stay in it and everything else, and they get up there in the fluff and all that stuff, they will throw a whole bunch of dirt at you.
Oh, on the outside. Yeah, but I'm talking about if we're on the inside.
Well, you was talking about outside of turn 1 and 2. So that's
my bad. Inside turn 1, 2 is my favorite shot. Outside, you're dodging little mud pellets.
Yep. And running.
Yeah, that's any dirt track you go to, right? If you're on the outside, you better buckle up, especially if it's at the beginning of the race where the track's got some moisture sitting on it.
It's a lot cleaner being in the infield.
It is, but it's wild. You talk about being in the infield, and I told you guys you got to get to Eldora, but getting up against the fence, if you ever get a chance just to get up against the fence, and they got the track right, and they're running up against the wall, it is just, I'm sure you guys experience there, but it's wild because they're wide open all the way around.
Mm-hmm. One day, man. One day we'll get there.
I'm gonna keep pitching it to you till you get up here. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Hey,
You guys are putting out, you're putting out a lot of different stuff. You kind of branched out. You started this a couple years ago, correct? In 2023. So how has it grown from what you first started with and what you thought it was going to be to what it is now?
At first we didn't really have at first we were thinking that it was like, I guess because at the time I listened to, we were listening to kind of like some NASCAR shows, and they were going a certain length and everything like that. And I'm like, there's no way we're going to be able to fill 45 minutes of NASCAR. Let's take a couple of different things we like and put it all together. And so we did that, and it was like, man, I feel bad for the people, like, especially dirt wise, everybody's niche. Like, you got your dirt NASCAR, and then inside your dirt, you have your wing sprints, your dirt late models, and then your other ones, your modifieds and stuff like that. Midgets, wingless sprint cars, like you can go on forever with that. So we decided to eventually, I can't remember if we finished out the year like that, or if because we decided to cut it up, and we were like, we're not going to make people who don't want to listen to NASCAR stuff sit and listen to NASCAR stuff. So we cut it in threes. We do a NASCAR show, a dirt show, and an F1 show. And then we're like, man, our thought process was backwards. We were, instead of having like one main brand, which is the Pit Report, we were thinking we were going to spin each different one off. Like a dirt show, a different thing, a NASCAR show, a different thing, and the Formula One show, a different thing. That was not a great idea, because for us, starting small and everything like that, you got to have people be able to find you, and it's got to be consistent on the name and everything like that, so people know who you're talking about. And that's when we got on Twitter and started doing that, post stuff about NASCAR dirt, and then we started picking up traction with dirt people, and then some NASCAR fans and stuff like that. But as far as growing was, I think the split was probably the best thing we could have done.
Yeah, we had some lengthy shows to start with.
Yeah, because it was like, I'm telling you, it was like hour and 45 minutes was our first show. And it was NASCAR. It was Memorial Day weekend, so we talked about IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula One, and dirt. And so, way too much. But splitting it up and offering people different types of different shows that they can pick and choose. So if you want to listen to a NASCAR show, you don't have to sit through a dirt show, and vice versa. And Formula One, no one likes to listen to. That's just for fun for us. But, and then we got some other stuff coming out with some other non-Pit Report stuff, but it's all related under the Pit Road Network umbrella. But it's just different content. And like you said earlier, short form stuff, the attention spans, those shows are going to be 10 minutes or less. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about, as I noticed that you guys started adding more video content and kind of changing up what type that is, whether it's at the track. You know, you guys are doing the after the checkers. You started. I've seen you doing that, or trackside, or some of the other versions of what you're doing entirely as the Pit Report, and you started kind of breaking that up into smaller. In different versions of everything that you do.
Yeah, it only took us about 2 months to get the trackside one down, because we were going to do that at Lucas. Remember the first night we were going to do that after the race, and we were going to do, before we left and packed up, we were going to do people saw we were measuring off where we're going to stand and everything else, and getting the mics ready and all that stuff, and it was a Lucas race that night, super lates. And then all of a sudden they let the 604s come out and practice. So not only did we not get to do a show, we were stuck in the infield for an extra hour. You know, we couldn't get out and go across, get in the car, and so we just filmed a little bit more, and had more content, but we didn't never get to do a show. The next night we were going to do it after the thing, and
there's threat of rain.
It was rain, coming. So they moved everything up and shortened it and done all this stuff. And so then we had to leave. And the next night it got over about 2 a.m. and it was cold as all get out.
Yeah.
So anyway, we tried for 3 nights in a row to do our first trackside, and then we ended up having to do it in Daytona.
Yeah.
Not a bad place to do one, though.
That's true.
Hey, we had it set up right in the background. You could see the top of the racetrack, so it was perfect for that. So,
well, another pitch for you guys to come to Eldora. You don't have to worry about getting stuck in the infield because you could take the tunnel
There you go.
to
see,
get into the infield. So
he's got solutions. He's got solutions.
It's on top of the bucket.
I can keep working on you guys. I've got plenty of places you can visit, and we'll get you Eldora sooner rather than later.
We got an itinerary already.
Oh. So now that you guys, you got dirt racing and NASCAR and F1, and I don't know if you guys attend the F1 races, but I know obviously you go to NASCAR and dirt. How do you find a nice balance to, I guess, work? We'll call it work, and enjoy the race.
Well, I truthfully, I don't know how you say that. A balance. It is. I mean, as you know, social media to me, it's kind of where you kind of get seen if you're trying to do like a small show like this. So like interactions on there, right? And so I know I had to quit doing it. I'll do it if you ever see me commenting during a race or something like that. It's very few and far in between because I like to watch, like you're saying, like we were talking about earlier, like you said, you like have a cold drink, watch the race. So I have to cut myself off from any social media. This guy's great at it though. You're pretty good at posting results for dirt and stuff like that.
When I'm awake, yes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that's what you do. That I tried it for a little bit. I couldn't keep up with the race by doing that, and it was a tough time for me, so I kind of just quit doing it. And we had the report is in the name, but we don't do any reporting, so that kind of helps us be able to watch the race and stuff like that. So, but as far as that, dude, I just cut it out. I just watch the race if I'm like on television. But if we're at a racetrack and we're filming and stuff like that, that's what I'm doing. So.
Rick, is it the same for you or a little bit different?
Yeah, I was going to say that when I do post stuff during the race, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. We got two Twitter handles.
Yeah, Pit Road Network and Pit Report.
Right, and then before I got my iPhone, I had two other ones, and I'd have the results slung across four different. It'd get away from me. I don't know how it would get away from me, but it's so simple it should be. But I said, "Dadgummit, I posted it on the wrong one," and stuff like that. But anyway, I hate to say this, but the iPhone has made it easier.
Yeah.
And you talking about earlier about the camera and everything else. When you see me starting the post, I tried to go live one time, didn't I?
Yeah, well, it's not
that
good.
That didn't work out,
yeah.
But almost went live, But when I start filming from an iPhone, I've given up on the camera. I've done messed it up or something and waiting for him to get finished to undo it. But we're still learning on that one. But like I said earlier, I think I find myself, if we're in the track, just because there's two of us and he's really intent in the filming and everything else. And we're in the infield. We're on the other side of a tractor tire, and we've had a couple instances where the cars have come pretty close to us, about run over our GoPro on the ground and everything else. So I'm usually finding myself watching and kind of spotting a little bit and so forth. But like I said earlier, I can watch a race before I can film it. I'll find myself writing. I'll get into it, and I'm still a race fan. He's filming, we getting content. I can watch the race.
Yeah, well, you got that new iPhone. I got to imagine it's got a good camera on it. You could always throw some pictures and videos out from that bad boy while you're at it.
Yeah, we met.
Jacob Dove.
Jacob Dove down there, and that's what he was doing. So I said, "Heck with this," and he's having a good time. And I'm seeing instantly he's uploading and everything else. I said, "Man, I'll get to doing it like this." And then I'm sitting there, I'm learning. He helps me a lot with it. And I mean, I'll try to zoom in and get the car, and he goes, just zoom out and get everything, and because you're not centering up and this and everything else. And so, but by the end of the night, we're getting the good stuff.
Yeah, and then by the end of the night, he's got a good balance of watching the race and look like an old man with a phone in his hand. So.
Wow, really?
Oh man, What do you guys have a schedule set up? Do you kind of sit down and look and go, okay, for 2025, this is what we're kind of planning on doing, or is it kind of you kind of wing it, or how does that work out?
We try to plan as much as we can. We got a little opportunity down here with Alltech, and talking with a couple of the main guys there, the main guy there, and he kind of wanted us to, as much as we can, he was going to allow us to get in there and get as much content as long as we shared it with them, which is great because it helps us and helps them and everything else. But it gives us a big opportunity to do stuff. And so we start scheduling, how many days out of the year that we can, we're sitting there thinking, man, every week. Well, they don't run every week. They run a little bit, then they take off. And then through the summer, they'll take off during hurricane season and everything else. Cause it does rain down here in Florida a lot, as you found out last year listening to us. But, we realized, if we went to every show that they had open, it wasn't going to be that many. So I was very surprised that it wasn't that many. And, we kind of ironed, mapped out, and it's more on him because I'm easier to get away. My wife don't like me much at the house anyway. So I got the pass to get out and go to, as long as I got her son with me, I'm good. So, taking care of our baby. Time to embarrass you. And, but he's working it out with a small child and everything else, but he's got pretty good liberty on that. And we've had both, we've had your wife and child and everything else with us and so forth. And, it's kind of family thing, so, it works out pretty good for that.
Yeah. Good. I'll say, dude, starting a podcast when you just had a newborn is not the way to go. That was a terrible timing on my part. Cause that thing was probably, 2 months old when we first started doing it. And so got a great wife. She, whenever we record, she just goes and hangs out with the kids. So, and then sometimes they'll go to the track. Kids been to the track a couple times. We try to take Volusia, threw up in the car on the way there. So that was a disaster. But as far as scheduling though, it's just really around work. Like, cause she works my wife will work every now and then on Saturday or something like that. So like, hey, we have to wait till she's off. And then that's where we'll look at this group of tracks or group of dates and everything. Like, I'll send them to Dad. Dad's like, yeah, I'm good for this. And then like a couple weeks later, Dad's like, yeah, no, I can't go to that one. Let's go to another one. So, and it's vice versa on that. And, and like he was saying with Alltech, we kind of, after we figured out, truth be told, man, after we figured out we can get to the infield without having like a special, like paying like a bunch of money to get into the infield, we're like, yeah, no, this is what we're going to do. Every chance we get, we're going to come to Alltech. And then we did those couple shows. We did the Night of Champions and the XR race. And then I would say Joe Kelly, the announcer at Alltech, he gave us a shot. And he's like, hey, man, if we love the stuff you did, just keep doing that. It helps kind of promote both and everything like that. So he gave us access. He gave us media passes for the year. And so he's like, hey, just tell me when you want to come to the track and we'll get you in. You shoot some content. Make sure you tag us and everything like that, and we'll work together on this. And it's worked out great, dude. Mm-hmm. I tell you, Facebook was stagnant and it's not a lot, but it was at 3 something when we right before the XR race. Mm-hmm. It was probably like 340, 350 or something like that. We just crossed over like 700 something followers on Facebook, and that was just, to me, that was just wild that people love. They're liking what we're doing, and that helps Alltech. So it's relationship. So it works out great.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And like we've talked about before we started recording, and even as we're talking now, ultimately that's our goal here is right. If we can help dirt track racing, whether it's the drivers series or the tracks, like that's all what we're trying to do here.
You said a lot right there is when we're walking in the pits with a camera, I loved it when this lady stopped us and she goes, hey, are y'all the track photographers? And Trace says, no, we're a long way from that. We're not very good. And she goes, well, look like you got the equipment for it. And Trace goes, well, we're faking it till we make it or something like that, because, we're just having fun. But the people, we realized, hey, can y'all send me some pictures? Where can I find the pictures? And
Yeah.
it was great because they were from Iowa or something like that.
Illinois,
that's right. And they had Milwaukee Tools as a sponsor. And I love me some Milwaukee Tools. You know, our industry is big, and electrical industry is big, and with Milwaukee and everything else. And so and Trace got one of, he'll always say it's the best picture I ever took with a car with a little backfire on
had
it.
the flame on there.
Yeah. And so, you make some friends out there, and then you post the content and everything else. And people are appreciative of what you do and everything else. And so, somebody says, hey, where can I buy them? Just let me know, and I'll try to send you all the pictures we got of you,
Yeah.
And that's why I take it where I always want to get the car into sponsors, so make sure when they post it, their sponsor sees it, because that helps them. It helps the sponsor. It helps them get to the next racetrack, and it helps the track owner because they're getting there, So, and then I get to watch what I want to watch, a race. So Everybody wins.
Yeah. And I'll say, we didn't go into it trying to, obviously, I say into the Joe Kelly, the Alltech thing. We didn't go into it to, like, well, he called us. He reached out to us. We didn't. It was if we found out that we can get to the infield by paying $30 a weekend,
right?
That was jam up for us, man. Like that much access for $30 for us was, like we're talking about earlier with access. That is the best thing ever, man. If I can go sit in turn one and videotape and watch cars go by, I'm happy. I'm happy as a camper. But it was great to see like that. And I know Joe had said there's not a lot of tracks. When we told him that we had kind of hit on that, he's like, dude, he goes, well, you better do whatever you can to keep it, because that doesn't happen often. Now, you don't see that those tracks reach out to the people to help promote and stuff like that. And that's what, like, kind of not trying to change the subject, but it sucks seeing tracks leave. But like, we're trying to help people get to the stands that may have not seen a race car or something like that. And that's kind of what our goal is, to post stuff on the Facebook to see if we can help get people into the stands, kind of like Get Into the Stands does with Scott and all that.
Right. And he had a good thing. He had, he's been studying that and had some good numbers there that he was throwing on, because if you bring somebody to a racetrack, then they're going to go home and they're going to bring somebody to the racetrack, and then and then that grows, and then he put a dollar figure to it. If you bring somebody by the end of the year, it could be but it's all about growth of the track and everything else. And so but it's just nice, you're curing your fever by going to the race and seeing your racing and everything else, taking a little bit home with you, figuring out how to put it on Facebook and all these other things, and getting on the right ones and saying this and hashtagging that and everything else. And you're just trying to get it in front of as many people as you can, just to show something that can get somebody else intrigued to come back.
Yeah. Then we're kind of continuing to go away from the original question, which is completely fine.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. No. You pointed out something that I didn't really necessarily have written down, but is a good point. Is if you bring somebody, they're probably going to bring somebody else, or they're going to come back, or whatever the case is. That happens with us. We'll, you guys know that Kings Royal Week's a big week for us, and it never fails. If you get somebody there, they're when we pack up to leave on Sunday, they're like, I'll be here next year.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's it's like you're infecting them with the bug of racing at Eldora. Like that's what you're doing. So,
well, and like you guys said, though, I mean, it's not. I use Eldora a lot because I spend quite a bit of time there, but it's no different. Like you said, Alltech or Volusia or Paragon or Terre Haute. Take your pick. Like if you get somebody to a track and you get them to watch some of the racing, get them in the infield so they can really see the cars, and because, especially if you get on those big tracks, you might see and hear and feel the cars from the stands, but when you get in the infield and you're up against the fence, completely different dynamic. And then you have the opportunity after the race is over to walk up to the drivers and shake their hand, chit chat, drink a beer.
Yep. And that's,
Don't even. Oh, you bringing it up, aren't you?
What?
The Chris Madden thing.
No.
Okay, don't do that.
I will before we. I won't now, but I will before. Yeah. But he told me because we decided that it's probably be better. I'll stay with the tripod and the camera. He'll take the small camera. That's one of the reasons why we got it. So we ain't got to undo the big camera all the time. Take the small camera up there, do a victory lane, get the victory lane shot, and this camera will help. It helps upload faster and everything else. So before he gets back to where I'm at, he's already uploaded it to Facebook or something like that. So. But he goes, hey, it's something neat up there. I didn't see the last time we were there. It's, all the photographers go up there and shake the driver's hand.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I said, did you do it? He goes, no. I said, well, why didn't you do it? And I said, do it the next time. And so, 4 or 5 races, then, he got to do that. And then now it's almost customary or something like that, or that, you get to do that. And so, and that's like you just said, it's, the accessibility is crazy.
Yeah, we can't talk enough about that. Is there, maybe you guys have had it already, but is there a race that you have checked off that like I can't wait till that weekend gets here? One that you are going to attend, maybe one that you can't attend but you'll be able to watch.
That's a good one. Like any race, for like down here or anything, or
and anything.
I don't know. I really like that Lucas weekend. That's. I mean, I know it's over and done with. Like before anything gets started. That's the only bad thing about Florida is that it's so front loaded with all those races that it's like it almost seems like it's just here and gone in a blink. But I don't know. I really enjoyed that Alltech Lucas show. I don't.
Well, I know. Well, that is true and everything else. But I will say back in 2020. When COVID come out and everything else, and we were watching racing over there, our biggest thing was we want to get to Pennsylvania Speed Week.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
we want to do all the shows and everything. And then it was going to be Ohio, Speed. And then it was, we were, I had my wife going, you're not going, and everything else. But we really wanted to go and everything else, and we still do. It's still a bucket list. It might be crazy, but I'd like to get Nevada out there in New Mexico. I'd like to do that. First Eldora, then Knoxville. I want to, those are the big ones on the bucket list. But yeah.
And was that your question, by the way? I don't know if that was it or not.
It might be 2 questions we dodged.
I don't think. Yeah, I think. Was that your question? I don't know if we even answered the question there.
No, I just because you guys had a lot of racing already, so. I didn't know if there was a race that you were looking to, whether you're going to cover it or just go as a fan. If there's one thing that you're looking forward to this season, and maybe you've already had that, like you were talking.
Yeah, you kind of squirreled on that one.
I'll blame it on me.
All right, we look forward to the last couple of years since we've kind of figured out where Lucas is going. I know I do. I don't know if I speak for you or not, but the if I can get to a track and it's only 35 minutes down the road, that's
right.
That's my thing. So that's the fact that a national show comes to our neck of the woods and it has a local show tied to it, the Stevie Whitener Memorial. That's a big deal for the local people, and it's a big deal for the county and everything that's in there, having the national people there. So I look forward to the last couple of years, the Lucas show, because we went. First Lucas show at Alltech, we went to, Larson spanked the field by like 15 seconds. So that's kind of our starter, kind of our Daytona 500 for dirt, is that it starts off, it's a big race, and starts off beginning of the year.
We peaked early.
Yeah, big time.
But then, next week, that was a great time because we was in Alltech, and then a couple of days later, we were in Bubba Raceway Park in Ocala, and then we wound up in Volusia, and I guess, not to jinx it, but it would be great if we could do 3 days at Alltech, the 5 days at Ocala, and then the 2 weeks at Volusia.
I don't think, Josh, we can answer your question because I don't think we can pinpoint an actual thing that we're looking forward to if we're looking forward to every single race.
Well, I'm just saying, but that's that part of the year.
Yeah, Speed Weeks.
Yeah, it's big down here, and then it goes all up north, and so then we're watching a lot of it, and and thinking a bucket list item to get to anything else. But yeah, I mean, that time right there, if you can pick, it's is the speed weeks down here. It starts at Golden Isles and winds up, in Florida.
Okay. All right. Very, very good.
Probably 0 for 2
that's
on questions.
Kind of what I figured I thought that might be your answer, but I wanted to ask, do you guys have any tracks that you're traveling to anywhere where you've got to drive a little bit to get to, anything like that on your schedule this year?
Volusia, knock on wood, cross our fingers, hope that I stick a needle in my eye. Volusia is about 2 hours from us, and they got sprint cars for Bike Week on Sunday.
Yep.
So we're going, but we're not going. Unconfirmed, but confirmed, because we don't want to jinx it again. For that. And then Needmore. We're going to get to Needmore this year, which is in South Georgia. It's about 2 hours away.
Modified race.
Yeah, modified race. And I think it's the Heritage Classic or something.
Right.
Something like that up there. So, but that's kind of our plan this year. That's about as far as we'll go this year, about 2 hours. So,
okay. All right. So do you guys have a bucket list track? A track that you absolutely want to get to? It could be anything.
There's no short answers.
Yeah, this is going to be a long answer. But off the top of my head, the top 3 that I may have badmouthed at one time in one of like a long time ago episode, and it's in this order too. This is for me. Port Royal would be my number 1 want to go to. Speed Palace, Eldora number 2, and then Knoxville would be 3 for me.
That's the one you badmouthed last
That
year.
is the one I badmouthed. Yeah, I apologize. I pulled a Jonathan Davenport on that. So,
yeah, I think Eldora and Knoxville, Port Royal, but Williams Grove. I'd like to do that. And that's probably the main ones. But I know there's so many other tracks. It's just we could be here all night talking about this and that and we'd squirrel some more and so forth. But
well, those 3 tracks that you guys listed, though, I mean, I think a lot of folks would have that same answer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I mean, see, we can go to some random racetracks. Ventura Raceway in California, right on the beach. I would love to get to that track.
Yeah, that does look like a cool joint too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of wrapping this up, guys, and I do this with everybody. We got some lightning round questions, so make this as easy as possible. I'll ask the question. Trace, you get the first answer. Rick, you can follow up.
Good.
Number 2.
First question.
Living in your shadow.
Celebrity crush growing up.
Oh man. Growing up, probably is it Tiffany Thiessen off of Saved by the Bell?
You're
Tiffany Amber
kidding
Thiessen.
me.
Yeah, bro.
That's the same answer I got.
Oh, nice. Right on, bro. Oh yeah, no, bro. I used to watch Saved by the Bell every morning before I used to go to school, like the reruns, and so that's it, man.
Great answer.
Farrah Fawcett. So
Okay.
that old swimsuit picture.
Yeah. Another great answer. Great answer.
Showing your age there.
Different era.
That's all right. That's all right. Do you have a favorite cartoon?
Oh, cartoon. Dude, it's gonna be a weird one, man. The first thing that pops in my brain is Rugrats. I grew up in that area. Tommy Pickles, man, like that was my thing back in the day. It's weird, but
yeah, and mine was anything from Bugs Bunny, but like the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, stuff like that. It's just
Looney Tunes. Yep.
Looney Tunes. There you go.
Yep. Now you may or may not have this, and it's fine because I always ask this, and sometimes I get an answer, sometimes I don't. Favorite pro wrestler?
I was waiting on this.
Oh, dude, for some reason I did have somebody I did follow for like a brief stint because my cousin was into it. I was a big Booker T fan, man.
All right.
And so like him and Stone Cold in the grocery store, like seeing some of that stuff back in the day was hilarious to me, man. That's kind of like he was always the opposition for that, or I think so. I can't remember what it was, but he was my favorite. So
Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, the American Dream.
There you go.
All right. Gosh, you guys got some good answers here. I'm liking it. All right. Favorite song?
Oh, Do you have yours on top of your head? Because you might have to go first on that one.
My favorite song is almost going to be like the race. Which racetrack would you like to go to? It's going to be 10 minutes long.
Well, just one song that goes off the top of your head, though.
Almost anything by Leonard Skinner. But that smell, I just love the guitar. I don't know if you like, classic rock or anything else, but if you listen to that smell, the three guitars there just going back and forth, it's just awesome.
Oh man, I know it. See, this is a bad thing because he influenced a lot of what I listened to. So
I never listened to Backstreet Boys.
No, man, like I can't really pinpoint a song, but like old Aerosmith, and I say old Aerosmith, kind of like when I was around, I guess when I first started coming around, Aerosmith, like that whole Jaded album and stuff like that. And I'd say I don't know, I can't really pinpoint a song because that whole what's the Armageddon song? I can't remember that they sung.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
I can't remember the song, but
Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, Aerosmith has some good albums, and especially the ones they did without the prescription stuff.
What?
The Pump album I thought was good, and they did that especially clean.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
Allegedly.
I don't know. They still fell off the stage 2 weeks later. I mean, So.
One location that you have saved on your phone maps.
Phone maps.
Good question.
That's a great question, dude. I probably got, and this is going to kind of be dumb to say because I know right where it's at, but it's Barberville, the Volusia racetrack. I have that saved, but I know right where it's at. I don't know why it's in my maps, but
Well, I know why it's there because we were 12 miles from it when Junior threw up.
Well, yeah, but it's always there though, so that's it's weird. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a good question.
Because you really probably don't use your maps. You kind of.
Well, I did when I traveled a lot. So in Dallas, there was a barbecue joint that I went to out there. Wasn't Hard Eight, but there was another and some brothers out there, and I can't think of the name of it. But man, I'm telling you one thing, that was some good eats.
Oh, Texas barbecue! I got a buddy that lives in Austin. Sign me up for Texas barbecue all day long.
We went not to lengthen this anymore, but because we can do that a lot. But we went to Franklin's, and we got in line at Franklin's halfway around the building, and they come around and told us that it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And says, "Oh, you're going to eat at 2:15." I went, "Whoa,"
Holy
that's
smokes.
a good guess, but she was serious, and so we didn't make it. We had to leave there, so we went to another barbecue joint. But I always wanted to go to Franklin's in Austin there.
Yeah, Rudy's and Salt Lick. Those are the spots that we've hit.
Yep.
What is your favorite vacation spot?
And it's funny, dude. It's not really a vacation, but that's we go to it every year, though. I would say well, let me change. Let me think about that for a second. Because it's going to sound cliche. It's a racetrack. I love Daytona. I love going for 4 days at Daytona every year, man. That's the thing. That's the trick for me. And it is a getaway. It's front loaded, obviously, in the beginning of the year, but I'd have to say that's my thing. I love going to Daytona.
Mine's probably anywhere. Daytona, yeah. It works out that's probably the only vacation really we get a year. But me and Mama every once in a while, our favorite thing is blue water. Whether it's Destin, somewhere out Fort Walton Beach or something like that, something Pensacola area, Panama City, on the beach somewhere.
I've known you for 33 years, and I never knew that.
Really? We didn't tell you a lot.
Jeez,
we sent you to Aunt Mickey's.
Who are you?
All right. You guys will remember this from our conversation before we started recording. Something very few people know about you.
I'm just going to go ahead and embarrass myself. I don't think anybody knows it.
Don't shock the world.
Yeah, no. I don't think anything is going to. Yeah, nothing's going to top your other interview thing. Well, no. Gosh. This is bad, man. Because this all happened on the same night, dude. It's when we met Kyle Larson at Daytona, not Daytona, Volusia that night.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and Hannah are the only people that know about it. That after, like, literally, we met. Kyle Larson sitting right there, dude. I was so nervous, right? I shoved the crap out of my wife out of the way of the picture so I could get a picture with Kyle Larson. Dude, she was standing there, and he doing his thing, and then Dad was taking a picture. And I'm not a woman. I don't hit women or anything like that, but she was in the way, dude. I just like pushed her. I said, get out of the way, woman. And so she's barely in that picture at all. But yeah, no, man, no one knows that, but I big Kyle Larson fan, unfortunately. I say because everybody seems to hate him, but big Kyle Larson fan. So that's that I showed my wife to get a picture with Kyle Larson. So, it's pretty embarrassing, but
yeah, I can't top that. But no, I think the biggest thing is for me is people at work, when they find out that we do a podcast and everything else, because they think I always listen. I don't really say a whole bunch at work, and when we're in such situations, I'm very quiet and everything else. And when people find out that we got a podcast, and that I can figure out how to do this and be so socially awkward sometimes and everything else. And like I said earlier, I'm the biggest introvert there is. But we can find our way here.
Hey,
you talk about racing, right?
There you go.
You want to find a good? Talk about a
good.
Gotta
find your comfort zone.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's comfort, but you go watch that trackside episode, and homie's standing there, and it just I thought his hands were just going to start coming up like Will Ferrell. He's just awkward.
Oh man,
it's crack on dad night.
Easy.
If you could own one car, what would it be?
Oh, dude, it'd be like an old 60s Dodge Charger. Like an old, they're going for like hundreds of $1,000s now, but they did like an old 60s model Dodge Charger. Yeah, that'd be me, man.
It ain't going to be a car. I'd have to go with a 78 Ford Bronco.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
I just love them things look so bad, but back in the day, they were nice.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
Go-to meal.
Wait. Is it go-to meal that you want to cook or go-to meal you want to eat?
I mean, it could be either. If you prefer to cook it and you enjoy it that way, I'm cool with that. Or if there's a spot that you love hitting, where somebody else makes the food for you, fine with that too.
Okay, because I was going to answer for Dad too. He loves making barbecue.
True that.
I love sushi, man. Sushi's my go-to meal. I could eat sushi 7 day a week, dude.
You're not my son.
I know.
Mine's got to be. I love brisket, and I love cooking brisket, and I love eating brisket, and anything in beef there. So.
I agree with both you guys and enjoy both your answers. I have tried brisket a time or two until my smoker caught on fire, and now I don't have one anymore. And brisket is tricky. First you got to go somewhere and get it. Like go to a butcher and get a cut. Don't go to like store and get that pre-wrapped stuff because it's not the same. But it's tricky to cook.
It is, and just like YouTube is our friend. You can fix a car on YouTube. You can do something in the house on YouTube, and you can learn how to cook barbecue on YouTube. And watching Aaron Franklin, just being simple, salt, pepper, right on it, and trim it up a little bit, and 250, 275 degrees, and everything else. Let it roll, and so. We practice a lot, and you can tell by us we've snacked a lot on it. We've ate a lot of our own stuff. So, never a bad piece of barbecue. Never a bad piece of barbecue. It's always you can eat. If it's bad, you can put something on it and eat it. So,
all right. Last question. Funniest story from the track.
Oof. Mine's got to be the Chris Madden thing. Mine's got to be Chris Madden. Brief synopsis. I lost consciousness while talking to Chris Madden one time. Dude, like, I didn't expect him to answer, and this goes back to your accessibility thing. He's hanging on the fence. This was our first time ever going to one of the first time ever going to a Lucas show and trying to use our camera or stuff like that. We used our phones this time. This was just phones. And he was hanging on the fence in the track. They were trying to work the track a little bit. And he was standing right there in front of me and on the other side of the fence at this point. And then I said, "Hey, Mr. Madden, how's the track look?" I didn't expect him to answer, dude. I did not expect him to answer. He turned around and goes, "It'd be a lot better if it slows down." And he's looking at me like we're probably like that far apart. And then I'm just like, like that. He just looked at me and have a good one like that. Dude, I didn't expect him to talk to me. And I was fanning out at that point because I was like, I've seen this dude race on television for years now. And then all of a sudden he's talking to me and I couldn't get any words out, dude. And he's sitting right there next to me and he's like, "What'd he say?" And
I was telling him, I said, Mr. Madden looked at me and goes, "Is he all right?" Yeah. But that was funny. But he got a chance to redeem himself in Golden Isles a little bit later than that. Yeah. But anyway, I don't. That's a good question. I would almost say that one time we were on the outside of the track, and we were filming, and we just had your iPhone, I think.
Yeah.
And we thought we were something. Yeah. And Hudson O'Neal come up there, and he was barreling off into turn one, and he got a little too high, and we saw him get a little too high. And but the time you saw him, time you react and everything else, he's there on you, and everything else. And man, we looked like fools when we were turning and running, and everybody's kind of laughing at us a little bit, but we still got mud threw at us. But anyway, and I think
he grabbed my backpack. I had a backpack, and he had grabbed the backpack.
Yeah, I was pulling you, or unless you had snacks in the backpack, I didn't want to get damaged. But it's fun, it's learning and everything else, and yeah, so we had a little black eye on us on that one, but he posted it and said, "Yeah, this one got us." So,
well. Gentlemen, Rick and Trace, I appreciate you coming on. And since Rick typically wraps up your show, I'm going to let him wrap it up. Just explain, where can everybody find you guys at?
Oh, boy.
Oh, he don't have his paper, do you?
You wait 15 minutes while I pull it up on a computer.
Yeah.
You can find us on pitroadnetwork.com. That's our website and everything else on our Pit Road. What is it?
Good. Pit Report Podcast.
Pit Report Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Amazon, Audible. I ain't got my glasses on. And YouTube. On Facebook and Twitter, you can find us at the Pit Report Podcast, and on Instagram at Pit Road Network.
Yeah. Ton of good stuff out there from you guys. Always enjoy checking in. Always enjoy the new stuff that you've been coming out with. Can't wait to see the new stuff that continues to come out. Again, Rick and Trace, thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thank you, buddy. Had a blast.
Yep. Appreciate it, Josh.
Everybody, this is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters Podcast, and we hope to see you guys at the track.